Hi, everyone. Should we tell them where we are?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
We're in Jerusalem. This is nuts. This is nuts.
We have to, pull in some B-roll of like where we are.
Right.
The view from our windows right outside is just amazing. We're in the Ishtar building, right overlooking the Kotel. It's just majestic. It's beautiful.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. If you haven't been, I don't want to make you feel bad about not having been to the Kotel, but like it's really one of the most incredible places on earth. You can cut the energy with a knife.
Yeah.
But you don't want to do that because I don't think you can carry a knife into the Kotel. Anyway, we're here.
We are here.
And we have some episodes to film together. And I'm stoked. What's our first topic?
This week's topic is discussions with students. And it's another value within the Mishnah and Pirkei Avos, chapter 6, Mishnah 6. And what's interesting about this one is not only is it important for the student to have discussions, but it's also important for the teacher and mentor to have that discussion. Yeah. There's value in both ways. So on one hand, we have, just like iron sharpens iron, that the discussion going back and forth creates wisdom on both sides. But there's another analogy that I think is really important here. And that is that just like you can have a match or a twig, you light a twig, and then that twig goes and lights a bonfire, that it creates a ripple effect and it spreads. Now, when you take knowledge or you take a candle and you light from one candle to the next, the candle doesn't lose anything. The fire in that candle is the same even when it gives out. And so when you're imparting knowledge, when you're giving to others, you're not losing anything from yourself. Just like the fire doesn't lose from itself when it goes and ignites another one.
And even when it ignites, there's that moment of like expansion on both, that spark. And I feel like we're living this out. It's a lesson that we are showing and not just telling. Right. And it's true. I think sometimes, I show up to meet and learn and film with you and I go like, can I really add anything here? Like I'm not so learned. Like, what do I know? And every time we have this discussion and I find myself like learning new things and reflecting them back to you and you get something from it, I'm like humbled, but also like, I feel excited. I feel empowered to keep learning. There's something about that. Right.
And like we discussed in many of the previous episodes, when you're discussing it, when you actually bring it out from mind to voice, to dibur, there's machshava, dibur, and masa. So it's machshava is a thought, dibur is a speech, and masa is the action. But even in the dibur, when you're talking the thought, it refines your thought itself. Wow. And so let's focus just on questions and the culture of asking questions and how we create an environment where people have a safe environment to ask questions. Yeah. Because not only do we find that when you ask questions of a mentor or a friend, and mentor we're using in the most loose context, which is a mentor can be a friend, it could be someone who has more knowledge than you, it could be just a random person who you look up to. And so the questions that we ask help us and help them. Yeah. For example, let's say you have just an innocent child asking a question of a parent or a teacher. That innocent question can be the most brilliant question that the teacher or the parent just took for granted.
Absolutely.
I know I have it with my kids.
Yeah.
Like they ask me that just, wow, where did that come from? What's going on? There's actually gears moving on in that brain of yours. Yeah. Oh my God, I need to actually think about that for myself for a second before I actually answer it. Or I just, do I just go and answer it?
Yeah.
But through that process of challenging us with innocent questions or the simple questions, that helps us answer it. Because, there's an idea that it doesn't take a genius to answer a simple question. But with a genius, you can take a deep idea and explain it to someone on the simplest manner. So let's just get a couple quick tips on what we can do to create an environment of asking questions where we can have a discussion with our students. Nice. So one is create a safe space for discussions and questions. Let them know that no question is too simple. No question is too complicated. You could always ask questions. You also, as a mentor, when you're with someone, instead of just talking all the time, ask them open-ended questions so that they'll be prompted to ask the questions. When we were in the desert with my birthright group, so I set up this generation meditation, thinking about how we are under the stars and how our ancestors all walked in this desert or a different desert, and we are here just at one point in time, but all our history has been throughout time. And then I shut my mouth. And I literally had to bite my tongue and hold my hands together and say, Shah, be quiet, wait. And then 1 minute went by, 2 minutes went by, 3 minutes went by. And then all of a sudden, one of the participants said, I've been struggling with things, and this trip, just the ability to have discussions and to talk with all of you has been tremendously helpful in my struggles. And then one after another, all of a sudden, people who 10 days ago were complete strangers were talking about the most deep, intimate, like raw emotions and they were sharing things that I would, I was totally caught off guard, like, oh my God, what do I do? How do I say? How do I answer it?
Yeah.
But again, it wasn't about me answering or addressing, it was about creating that safe space.
And I think that's the best mentor, best leader, is to just set that intention and let it be. And it's hard to sit in silence. I found myself as I grow, like being okay sitting in silence generally and having even silence be loud, having it be a space, having there be that, pause, of breath. It's important.
Right, and our minds are always working, and we always want to fill the gap. Sometimes it's just taking a step back.
Love that.
I think also another sort of tip is create a culture of transparency. Right. In a sense, that trust. I'm going to give you the answers to the best of my ability. You can ask those questions, give your answers to your best ability. And by having that transparency and even being willing to say, I don't have an answer.
That's so strong. That's so
it's
strong.
Important.
To empower. One of my first bosses, it was a super successful actor, creator, writer, showrunner, would ask me often and would first say, I don't know, and then say, what do you think? And it was the most empowering space where I would go, first I felt like, again, like I said before, whoa, but who am I? But can I? And it empowered me to step in and say, let me figure this out. Or I might have information to add. And if I didn't know, I learned to also say, because he set the example, I don't know, let me go figure it out. Right. And being okay with not knowing. Right. And because again, this fosters this entire thing is about fostering this attitude and this desire to learn, to be a forever student. That's okay.
Exactly.
It's okay that we don't know. That's why we're here, to keep learning.
So that transparency is critical.
It's awesome.
And it's also how you ask questions. So are you asking questions that are just answers, or creating cultures where the questions are inquisitive? Or not justifications. Like sometimes we just ask questions because we don't want to do something, and so our questions justify our inaction.
Interesting.
And when our questions are really curious and transparent, then it opens up the door for more knowledge. But when questions are just answers for ourselves, then that's where it ends. It ends with the question, it doesn't go with the answer.
Wow, this makes me think of why so many people say, you can tell a lot about a person by the questions they ask. You can tell a lot about the question sometimes is enough. Because just the way a person asks, you can see, are they open? Do they want to know more? Or is it a pointed question that's a little bit nuanced in a way that's a little, okay, you're showing me where you are and what you're already thinking. Yeah. It's a powerful thing.
Yeah, so like these discussions that we have with students or mentors or mentees, back to sort of the general topic, is by asking those questions, by delving deeper, by having those discussions and creating those safe environments for those discussions. Not only does the student gain the knowledge and insight from the teacher, but also the teacher gains the insight because they're challenging themselves to look beyond themselves and understand the student and the perspective of the student.
I hope teachers are listening in, because I know there's a real humility that needs to happen as a teacher to be okay to be wrong, to be okay to not know, to be able to hold space and not have to fill it with, I'm giving you. Because I feel like academia for so long has been about the person in the front of the classroom giving everybody else truth. That's it. You digest it, you take it, you walk home with it, and that's it. You don't get to ask. Right. In fact, often we say, you should ask, or there's no dumb question. That's not true. It's actually not, we're told that, but we were never shown that in school, because there are dumb questions, because teachers have had that sort of reaction when asked. So I think it's really important to all of us as students and teachers to have that humility.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to take that lesson for myself and really be open to more questions, because that's how you learn.
You're doing well, Rabbi Z. You're doing well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This was a great episode. I really enjoyed this quick discussion.
It's over so soon.
Yeah. But we're in Israel, and everything in Israel goes quickly.
That's true. Oh, that is true. All right, guys. Good to see you. See you next episode.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Bye.